just a minor side note. Do you remember the time that I apparently had too much to drink and I passed out and you called an ambulance for me after... I was asleep. I don't know what happened, but
I was extremely worried about you.
You said you took a pulse.
Yes.
On me, and for whatever reason, you felt it pertinent to call an ambulance. I don't remember drinking. I was drinking. I thought the idea was... I remember... The last thing I remember is being in a car, in the backseat of a car, and you were driving. And then next thing I know, it's nighttime, and I have a paramedic just with a flashlight in my eyes. Do you want to fill me in on the in-between? What happened? I was on the bathroom floor, too, by the way. I'm on a bathroom floor, and there's a whole ambulance team around me.
We had done a little bit of drinking, but I think the party had gotten started before you and I started drinking. And again, part of it was just young and inexperienced. You're gonna bleep this out, right?
Yeah.
Part of it was just being young and inexperienced. But I was worried about my friend. I was a Jehovah's Witness kid, Tom. I didn't know. I hadn't been around that many people that had been drinking. Now that I'm experienced, I would have put you in an ice bath and let you wake up on your own.
There was road construction.
There was that line of cars.
There was a line of cars, and we... That was I can't remember if it was your idea or my idea, but we decided it'd be a good idea that when we had the opportunity to pass, we were going to pass this long line of cars, that... We were Jehovah's Witnesses at this time, by the way, but we just thought that we'd have a situation here where we could pass this is like a 2-mile long line of cars stuck in traffic, and we were going to lay down on the horn, roll down the windows, and flip them off. Because they were stuck. It was bumper to bumper, stuck. They're going the opposite direction. They can't do anything about it, and we were just going to flip every one of those cars off. And... just a golden memory there.
On that same road trip was when I said, wouldn't it be nice to get hurt, like just a little bit, not like a lot, but just get hurt a little bit. Like nothing life-threatening, just like break a leg or something just to get some attention.
Oh, some sympathy, yeah.
And, like the next day, I wound up in the hospital for like 2.5 months.
It was after you ate at JP1.
Yeah.
He ate Japanese food, not just Japanese food, fast food.
Yeah.
Fast Japanese food, and then played basketball.
It worked slow because I was in the hospital.
That was back when you had wheelies.
Yes.
The wheelie shoes, and you used to coast around on those.
I remember the time that you crossed the street in Lawrence, and this guy almost hit you, he came to a screeching halt and honked his horn, and you flipped him off and told him it was a freaking crosswalk. And I was like, Tom, I want to commend you. I'm not dropping the F-bomb, but you still flipped him off.
Yeah, I was the classic JW youth trying to be a hard ass, but making a very it's a very difficult when you're not naturally disposed to that. Yeah,
it's a freaking crosswalk.
I guess competing for the attentions of Jessica and Tiffany?
Yeah.
And I guess Josh really had a hard one for Tiffany. And so
they went to that love movie.
Yeah, they went to a romantic comedy, rom-coms. And
then they went to IHOP, and that's where I took the magnetic sign off of Jake's truck and put it on Kendall's hood. And they called the cops. The very next day is when we had that Kingdom Hall build in Baser.
Oh, Baser, yeah. We left, it was a very eventful weekend.
You and I went, we got lost in Kansas City for 8 hours.
Yeah, that was, and Tom Donnelly we were at the Hall build, and Tom Donnelly was criticizing me. He was like, oh, you adjust your collar, and everything like that. And I was like, I've had it with this man. And that was I was about ready to snap, and I remember you calmed me down. You said, this is a hall project, we gotta be, whatever, it's been a long day, and we had, the carpet crew, we stayed in the basement of those people's house.
Yeah.
Do you remember them? And Kendall went into the next room and peed so loud. And there was these 2 teenage girls that were down there in the basement, and their mom was down there too, and it was and Kendall's just oh, excuse me, And he went into the bathroom, this little bathroom, and it was like an echo chamber.
Did that in Paul's house?
Yeah.
And left all the doors open?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but that was Nick. Yeah, he didn't care. He was just peeing loud. I think he left the door open because he still wanted to hear the TV or whatever. Yeah. But he just peed like a racehorse.
Yeah.
Remember Nick's dad was a weird duck, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was. Melody tried to take everybody in, and she took this lady in that was. And there's the people that are in the truth, and then there's people that are around the truth.
Yeah.
And she was definitely around the truth. And she tried to seduce Nick successfully. And for some reason, Nick's dad thought he had a chance with her, so when him and Melody got in a fight, he packed his bags and went to her house and found her and Nick together.
Oh, damn. Nick's his son.
Yeah, so that led to a broken family. And then you told me about how Melody was the one who got like federal charges for.
She's in jail, son.
Yeah,
she's in jail right now.
That federal prison for screwing that lady at a home health care.
Yeah,
$1,000.
She was somebody who apparently was. Well, I'll leave it to the courts to judge. But the charge against her was that she was divesting this woman that she was supposed to be a caretaker for. And instead she was emptying out the bank accounts. Maybe she justified it in her mind of saying, well, we're like family and I do all the extras for her and everything. But it was the big payday. It was a lot. It was over 100,000.
Yeah, when your broke ass mother-in-law is giving you brand new like trucks and
yeah.
When there's not that much money coming in and you're getting a lot of goodies, the flags have.
It was Christmas every day, it seemed like, for some people. Did not have a license, but he was a practicing psychiatrist that had an office. No license or any training of any sort, but he was an elder, and so he felt his qualifications as an elder also qualified him as a psychologist, and he charged people money for it. And I actually got roped into having a sit down with him, and that man was as mad as a hatter.
It just always seems like there's something screwy.
I kind of got that feeling too, that things never normalize at any time.
They still haven't.
It's always tumultuous. It's always tumultuous at any given month of any given year.
Like there's always some epic news, some epic tragedy. Somebody's running off with so and so's wife, so and so's running off with so and so's husband. DEFCON 1. And that's what makes it hard is, again, some of it's life decisions, but some of that was just there. It was the demographics. It was the chemistry of the people that were there. And it always seems like, you lose the village idiot and a new village idiot moves in. It's kind of...
I guess so, yeah.
It's just a vicious circle there that they continuously go through. I'm glad.
And it seemed like that vicious circle always brought out the worst in people.
Yeah. Which
a circle of Jehovah's people, Jehovah's organization is supposed to bring out the
best in people.
But even the people you were supposed to look up to were just weirdos. Do you remember Bruce and Anita? Was that their names?
Yeah.
They were kind of the elite JWs there, and I remember they were having I guess you would call it a colon cleansing party. Do you remember this?
Yeah, with coffee.
Coffee enemas. This is not a made-up thing, people. This is a real thing. We're talking about...
The fact that we didn't have a previous conversation about this and we're on the same page. I hope it wasn't hot coffee.
Were you? I don't know. Did you get invited to one of these coffee enemas?
I hope it wasn't hot coffee is all I have
to say. For a mental picture here, the people hosting what a coffee enema is, they take coffee grounds, mix with water, and it's like a vacuum tube, I guess. They literally put a tube up your ass, I'm supposing, and shoot coffee grounds up your digestive system to just... it's like doing a roto-rooter. They just clean you out.
It cleans the...
a very efficient... It's a good deep clean. It's just one of those very efficient
It's the lower end.
And as insane as this sounds, it was okayed because the people that apparently had conceived this idea and were going to be the host of these coffee enema, shooting water up into each other's assholes, it was because these were elite JWs. They look like Washington politicians. They look like they could be a governor and a first lady, and they had the suit and they had the big house and everything like that. And so because this elder and this elder's wife signed off on this idea. Look, if this was just some random weirdo in the congregation that said, coffee enemas, it would be like sick. He'd be marked. They would give a marking talk about him, and he would dry up and shrivel and be out of the congregation. But because these superior Jehovah's Witnesses made it sound like a very sensible thing, then all of a sudden there's groups of people on a regular basis squatting over a hose that's shooting coffee up their ass. That's how it works. And coffee enemas.
She lives by the wall and waits by the door. She walks in the sun to lives by the wall and waits by the door. She walks in the sun to
I was asleep. I don't know what happened, but
I was extremely worried about you.
You said you took a pulse.
Yes.
On me, and for whatever reason, you felt it pertinent to call an ambulance. I don't remember drinking. I was drinking. I thought the idea was. I remember the last thing I remember is being in a car, in the backseat of a car, and you were driving, and then next thing I know, it's nighttime, and I have a paramedic just with a flashlight in my eyes. Do you want to fill me in on the in-between? What happened? I was on the bathroom floor, too, by the way. I'm on a bathroom floor, and there's a whole ambulance team around me.
We had done a little bit of drinking, but I think the party had gotten started before you and I started drinking. And again, part of it was just young and inexperienced.
Just a minor side note, do you remember the time that I apparently had too much to drink and I passed out and you called an ambulance for me after